Guys, how's it going? So I wanted to take and finally make a video on the fastest way to unlock Damascus. I mean, as you guys know that's been around the channel, I've had Damascus now for like 2 months, maybe even longer, who knows. I didn't go back to just to pinpoint it down, but I've had it for a while. Anytime new guns drop, I get Damascus, which you just, for those in turn, means getting gold for the weapon extremely fast. So you guys are wondering how I do it, and it's not just about I mean, to begin with, if you're starting from ground zero, obviously you got to have a decent amount of time to dedicate to it, but you don't have to know life it. There's actually a lot of ways you can really just expedite the process without having to, dedicate your life to it, or without being the best gamer in the world. And that's what we're going to go over. So now, for most of your primary weapons, all the camo classes here, like spray paint, woodland, digital, they all kind of have the exact same criteria, but just in different numbers. Now, I don't want this video to be an hour long, so I'm going to try to speed through it while still touching on the key details. But now, just as a rule of thumb, the best game mode, which is really one of the most important things when it comes to doing this, is something that a lot of you guys might not want to hear, because I know that if I was in a position and like where I was when I first started this game, and then just my generic overview and overtone of how I felt about Call of Duty in this game in general, I wouldn't want to hear it. But hardcore is going to be what you want to go for, because you can just really speed through these things. Even if you're having like lower KD games and stuff, it's still a lot better. Normally you'll find yourself getting higher kill games in hardcore, and I would recommend playing hardcore domination for those. TDMs and free-for-alls and all that kind of stuff, they're not the best. Like, free-for-all might be my second pick if you're a wee bit better, but I'm just going to stick with the hardcore domination right now, because that will suit most players the best, and that's where you can find yourself getting a lot higher kill games. My cellular device is ringing. We need to ignore that. So with that out of the way, that's what you're going to, that's a constant. I would say, it's like, let's say Shoot House 24/7 or this, that, or the others, and go for that, but still stick with hardcore, and I'll explain that in a little bit more detail here in a second. Going into the camouflages, their sales, we got the spray paint. So now this is one, don't even pay a bit of attention to this. Whenever you start working on a weapon, if you have not, like, the first thing you got to do is you got to level up the weapon to get attachments, and in turn you'll unlock each one of these camo sections one by one so that you can start working on them. So don't get zoned in on how many kills in the woodland and digital. Just be sure that, like, until you get to at least a dragon, just play your matches, use the weapon, get as many kills as possible. That way you can level your gun up quicker, and if you do happen to have any tokens, be sure to take advantage of those as well, especially if you're using a gun that you're not that good with, where you could use the boost for the weapon XP in terms of leveling up the weapon even faster. And just in case any of you guys are brand new to the channel, I have multiple best class setup videos for every single weapon in the game. So if you're looking for a good class setup, be sure to check those out, because like I said, got one for every weapon in the game. Now, going to the headshots, once again, where this is one of the first ones that you come across, don't fixate on it. Whenever you're in hardcore, a headshot's basically a one shot with almost every weapon on here. So, just try to keep your ADS, keep your line of sight above the nipples, and you'll end up getting headshots. Like, you'll be done with that before you even get down, like, halfway down to stripes. For digital is the crouching. That's something certain people tend to, like, leave towards the end. By the time I finished up, like, I think my pistols or my subs, it was definitely just locked and loaded into my noggin that, hey, look, I need to be crouching while I'm working on my camos early on, just so that goes ahead and gets pushed out of the way. Where it's 160 with your ARs, that actually still ends up being one of the last few ones that I ever had left when working on my ARs, so just kind of keep that in mind. Now for dragon hipfire kills, you only gotta get 75 in hardcore, super easy, and that's a huge one where you have a big advantage in hardcore over regular, over core, is you don't even have to throw on a laser attachment or anything. Obviously doing so with like the 5 milliwatt laser or something will make it a lot easier and a lot more consistent, but all you gotta do is just hold your trigger down on anything in front of you, as long as you just point in this general direction and you're using a full auto weapon. it's gonna get out of the way. Okay, let's just put it that way. Long shots, once again, extremely easy on hardcore because most of your ARs, your subs, some of them are like a 2-shot. Most of your ARs are gonna be a 1-shot at the longer ranges, and playing hardcore domination is great for that because you'll get maps with longer range engagements, and all you gotta do is post up and get those. And then, just like I said, posting up whenever you're focusing on your long shot kills and stuff, just be sure anytime you have an opportunity to, you mount up so that you can be getting through a lot of these camos. You can be doing 2 or even 3 for 1 specials. So while you're mounting up, you get your long shots, you get your mounted kill. You only got to do 100. Some of these seem like a lot and seem daunting, but after you after you hop into these hardcore matches and you just kind of take this advice, you'll like be blown away at how fast this flipping goes by. Okay, so now for Tiger, you know, get your kills using all attachments. That one's just pretty easy. Like that, you know, you do that one. You'll be done with that one before you even get to the Reptile, which is using no attachments. Now, Stripes is shortly after reloading. That's one, don't even think about it. If anything, I just recommend not using extended mags and running the standard mag size. And, you know, that's one that I've never had a problem with because, if anything, I have a problem topping off my mag too frequently. So, you know, nothing you need to really worry about there. The no attachment kills, once again, super easy in hardcore, and then kill the 3 enemies without dying. I've never had an issue with that. Some of you guys have expressed problems with that for certain weapons. My main thing with that is just make sure you got a solid class setup. So, you know, like I said, check out my class setup videos for that. And make sure you're playing to the weapon. Like, make sure you adjust your play style of the weapon you're using. Like, if you're using a sub, you know, don't be trying to slam people across the map the whole time. You know, unless you're just specifically focused on your long shot kills or something. You know, keep it up close, keep it tight. Remember to pre-aim. Even if your gun has solid ADS time, fast sprint to fire speed, doesn't matter. ADS and more frequently, and, you know, ADS when you go around doors and corners and all that garbage will lead to you getting way more consistent 3 kills without dying. I mean, I'm surprised it didn't go with Bloodthirsties. But that right there is like basically the generic rundown, and it's going to be the same for subs. Like I said, AR and subs are all the same. It's just the numbers are reduced or inflated for certain you know, for certain camos. Like I said, 800 here on this first one, you only gotta get 500, and some of them are the same, some of them are different, but just stick to the same mindset with that. And then now we'll look at the shotguns, because I believe they have a couple different things. Like I said, you gotta bear with me. I have not touched these bad boys in over, like I said, about a month and a half, 2 months, so I don't remember all these in details. That one's the same, crouching the same. All these, the Hipfire kills, the shotgun, all that stuff gets done very quickly. The point blanks, my best advice for that on the shotguns is to, once again, you could do, like, you can play around with core and hardcore. I would still recommend hardcore for the shotguns too, just because that will help you with your long shots and your headshots, especially when you get towards some of the other shotguns, like the Origin and the VLK Rogue. The VLK Rogue, since it's like a DLC shotgun, I don't think you have to get it gold to get Damascus, but especially for the Origin 12, you're going to want to play hardcore. Like, just trust me, you'll understand what I'm talking about when you get there. So that's all the attachments. The double kill, still super easy. Shortly after reloading, same build, no attachments, and 3 kills without dying 30 times. So the only thing that's really different about that one's the point blank kills, and for that I would just recommend waiting around the corner of high traffic areas and then just sticking it right in their ear hole whenever they walk around the wall or the door or whatever it is. Like, no camping, but, you know, like I said, high traffic areas, you're going to be there anyways, they're going to be there anyways, so, you know, nobody's day gets ruined that way. For the LMGs, once again, all this stuff should be the same. If I remember right, there's not a lot I can tell you. I just, same thing with subs and ARs. You just got to play to the weapon strengths with a solid class setup. With the LMGs, if you're playing regular multiplayer, you're going to want to, you know, improve its ADS, which my best class setup videos do show that. And, you know, LMGs are very dominant in hardcore as well, especially because you can just mow people down through the wall. And mounted kills are pretty natural for the LMGs. That's the double kills, no attachments, all that stuff's easy peasy lemon squeezy with the LMGs. Now, going into the marksman rifles, I'm pretty gosh darn positive we definitely got some different stuff here. But the marksman rifles was ones that I was able to get through super quick compared to what I originally thought. The crouch kills was the one thing that kind of got to me a little bit. The single shots, you only got to get 50 single shot kills, so I mean, that's easily achievable in core as well. But just like with this EBR, going into hardcore, you know, you one-shot somebody in the pinky toe and they're going to die, so you know, it's a lot easier just to do that in hardcore. Long shot kills super easy. We got mounted, double kills, no attachments, and you know, all that stuff's the same and consistent with all these. Going over to the old snooper rifles, we got, I think it's the same thing as the marksman rifles pretty much. It might even be the exact same count, the single shots. For those, you might really want to stick with core actually. For your other snipers, the Dragunov, best bet would be to go with hardcore, just so you ain't got to worry about hit markers as much. But then again, you know, things get buffed, things get nerfed, so you just have to keep that in mind depending on when you're watching this here video. Melee, I have a completely separate video just specifically dedicated to the best way and strategies to get the riot shield Damascus, so I'm going to leave that there. For now, to the pistols was the first thing that I got Damascus in, and if you want to talk about something that's fun, you hop into hardcore and rock pistols, because pistols are like one of the most dominant weapons in hardcore, period, and they're just super fun to use. They're one of my favorite things to use in any Call of Duty. So same thing here, you know, you got your headshots, you got all your kills, you got the kills while crouching, hipfire shots, once again, super easy in hardcore. Long shot kills, very easy, because like the range variation is different depending on the weapon class you're in. So like what is just like short medium range for a sub is like a long shot kill with a pistol. So that's your double kills, all the attachments, active reloading, and all that stuff's the same. So that's super easy, especially once you get a solid class setup for that. Going into launchers, I have a separate video specially dedicated to launchers, because that was a extreme pain in the butt. I mean, I just wanted to run my head through every window in the house by the time I got done with them things. And the biggest piece of advice I'll offer you, which I just highly recommend you go check out my launchers videos specifically, because I'll break it down in detail. But to be sure to be working on these while you're working on all your other weapons, and you can thank me later, you know, send me a postcard, whatever you want to do. But you don't want to save this class as a group of weapons to work on by themselves. Not from getting the kills. Getting the kills is easy, and you'll finish that in no time. I'm talking about having one of these things set as your secondary, so every time you're in a game working on your other camos and you see somebody calling a UAV or a counter UAV or a ground score streak, you can whip this thing out and blow it up, and then you just have another notch on the tally board for whatever launcher it is you're working on. Now, going into the knife, I thought the knife would be a lot more difficult than it was, but compared to the launchers, it was a walk in the park. It's super easy. 200 enemies, kills while injured, get kills from behind, get kills while using dead silence, kills while crouching, double kills, enemies near smoke. That one glitched out for me for some reason, but for this one, I would not recommend hardcore for this one, especially while you're working on getting the kills while injured. You'll want to hop into core, throw on EOD, have make sure you have dead silence, make sure you have ghost, maybe battle hardened, but I primarily run tune up unless I was getting flashed or concussed a lot, and then have your smoke grenades once you get to that point where it's unlocked. And just stick to smaller maps. Ideally, they'll have shipment 24/7, because that's what they had whenever I done it, and that's what I just grinded shipment 24/7. And I had it done in no time to kill 3 enemies without dying. I think I ended up getting a couple of those done while playing shipment 24/7. But then I hopped into a couple other game modes on some medium to larger size maps, and then I just played around corners, and then I ended up finishing like the last 4 or 5, killing 3 enemies without dying. But there you go, guys. I mean, that right there, that is down and dirty. If you have any specific questions, then just hit me up in the comments. But just to iterate on a couple things, make sure, like, this is about playing multiplayer. If you want Damascus, I don't know who in their right mind would try to get Damascus in Warzone. I've had some people mention that to me. I know the Warzone thing is free, but trying to get Damascus in Warzone is just, I'm sure it's doable, and maybe somebody's done it, but I don't think I would have the patience to do that. And Damascus is already something that will irk your patience, even just doing it the standard way, even with all the tips and tricks and phenomenal, gaming skill in the world. It still has its moments of frustration, but it's very rewarding. And I mean, this is one of those times where people's up in quarantine, everybody's just chilling like a villain at home. So it's like, if you ain't got nothing better to do, you might as well do something. So getting Damascus is the way to rock and roll, in my opinion. So there you have it. Like I said, just hit me with any questions or comments in the comment section. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Share with your friends, share with your family, let your grandma watch it, tell her to hit me up in the comments too. And yeah, guys, always appreciate you watching, and until the next one, adios.